Hello and what's going on, guys? If you guys have already seen the trailer, go ahead to the timestamp below for the review.
Being aware of your surroundings is essential in Remnant 2. But being in tune with the environment is something entirely more powerful. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, introducing the Invoker. Drawing strength from the nature spirits of Yesha, the Invoker can harness the mystic powers of the jungle. Their perks are based around skill usage, the centerpiece being their prime perk, Visionary. This grants the Invoker double skill charges for any equipped archetype and reduces skill cooldowns. And when it comes to skills, the Invoker thrives. Their first skill, Way of Keula, is all about making it rain. Literally. The Invoker summons a rainstorm followed by a powerful tidal wave. Enemies caught in the downpour are drenched and subsequently slowed and intermittently blasted by lightning. Allies, on the other hand, they gain haste. Their second skill, Way of Madra, sees the Invoker reinvigorate the very ground they stand on. Enemies within the cleansed area contract Gloom, which increases elemental damage taken. Allies gain a small burst of healing, a small but constant heal over time, and gain lifesteal against affected enemies. Their third skill, Way of Lydusa, empowers the Invoker with the shredding power of sand. Ranged and melee damage inflicts Brittle, increasing critical chance and critical damage. Additional damage chips off parts of the enemy, empowering a brutal AoE Sandblast. Rounding out their kit is the Archetype trait, Gifted. It increases the duration of all applicable skills. A perfect unlock for those who want or need a bit more time to take advantage of Remnant's many powerful archetype buffs. Players looking for an archetype that can fit in any build will be right at home with the Invoker, an incredible hybrid fueled by the power of nature. Welcome to the jungle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mangumson here, going over the Invoker review. We got it from Gunfire Games. We're going to go over some abilities that they have, the skills, and cover the Invoker in depth here. Kind of put it with some things to get your mind going for future builds for the Invoker. Let's look at the prime perk Visionary. Doubles base skill charges for all archetypes. Skill activation reduces all skill cooldowns by 10%. For heavy weapons, double heavy weapons base ammo instead. This is a game changer for the engineer. We'll talk about it later. Entrance damage perk, increased skill damage by 30%, elemental damage by 15%, and skill and elemental crit chance by 5%. Damage increase with Invoker level. So this is only going to rise further, probably capping out at about 50%, 30%, and I say 10%, right? 10 to 15% for that critical hit chance. Communion team perk reduces skill cooldowns by 1% and heals 2% max health once every 3 seconds for allies when Invoker skill is active. Mind and body utility perk increases movement speed by 5% and damage reduction by 5% while an Invoker skill is active. And Soothsayer relic perk on relic use extended duration of Invoker skills by 20% of the base duration, cannot exceed base duration. Relic use speed is increased, right? So we're going to be talking about the things that go really good with it. So we got the Archon here, and then we have the Challenger. The Challenger is going to be really good with that double dipping into the perk pools, getting that extra ability, outputting that damage on the Challenger's final perk pool. So we have the Gunslinger, we have the Hunter, then we have the Invader, and the Invader's going to be really good with that, doing those doppelgangers, disappearing in and out, getting that dodge movement. We have the Medic with the shields and the, bringing allies back to life anywhere on the map. Then we have the Ritualist with the status effects and really dipping into that. And then we have the Summoner. And the Summoner and the Engineer, what I'm going to talk about here, and I'm kind of going to break some people's hearts, right? Or, I don't know, lift them up. but we'll see. So we have the summoner and the engineer. The engineer and summoner for their prime perks works really well for their archetypal class, with the summoner being able to, if you destroy the summon that you have, then it creates that pool of energy, giving you that HP back. Don't know anyone who really uses that. But the engineer, so the engineer combined with the flamethrower perk on it, right? Since we have that increase in skill damage and the increase in elemental damage, it's going to be double dipping into the invoker. So I feel like they really want you to go engineer, invoker, put together a really powerful build there, or you're going to go invoker with ritualist, or you're going to go ritualist, not ritualist, but invoker and archon, all because of that status effectual damage, right? So you can read what the flamethrower does on the screen. But the flamethrower does really big, heavy damage. So the overall skills that the invoker gets, right? To get 3, so we got Way of Kalula, Kelua, whatever, invoke Kelua to cast a tidal wave dealing 517 whatever elemental damage, and conjuring a 30-meter rainstorm for 19.5 seconds. Allies inside the rainstorm gain haste. Enemies inside the rainstorm gain drenched for 10 seconds. Now, is drench the elemental damage that we're getting here? It's kind of new, like wet, the rain drench, the kind of wet effect, right? So is that going to be something new when we jump into the water? But anyway, so drench reduces movement speed by 10%. Every few seconds, lightning strikes enemies, dealing 1,000 blah 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 damage, right? Base shock damage split amongst drench targets. So the more people that are affected by drench, it is going to do less damage to them. So if you're looking for an overall type of elemental spread with the Way of Kulua, you're really going to want to probably dip into that ritualist archetypal type of class, right? So because you're going to get more elemental damage buffs from ritualist and invoker combined versus using Kulua with anything else, because that shock damage is going to be so split amongst the other enemies within that total area, if you know what I mean. So then we have the Way of Midra, right? I'm not saying any of these names right, probably. Invoke Midra to heal all allies for 20%, max health over 1.5 seconds, and conjure a 20-meter forest growth for 19.5 seconds. Now, the word conjure in there, I want to know if that is going to act as a, like, you conjure it, is that going to count as for, like, the summons on the field, right? So, after fully blooming, allies in the forest growth heal 2% max health per second and gain 3% of base damage dealt as lifesteal. Enemies inside the forest growth gain gloom for 10 seconds, increasing elemental damage debuff. Again, we have a ritualist type of synergy here, but we also, if we go with the poison, the shock, or the poison, shock, fire, bullets, then that is also going to be good with the challenger. And I don't know if it's going to be too good with the handler. Now, combining this with the handler, I just don't think that the synergies are there. The dog does a little bit of bleed. I don't know if they corrected that with the bleed stacking on top of with the merciless and giving extra bleed damage on top of what it was already doing, and dishing out there with the other synergies of bleed in the game, because bleeds are really powerful. So we have the Way of Ledusa, and invoke Ledusa to infuse ranged and melee attacks with the damage of to apply brittle, and allowing the invoker to generate sand devils through damage or kills last 19.5 seconds. Increasing that duration is probably going to be really good on the Way of Ledusa. Reactivating the skill consumes all sand devils generated and casts 15-meter sand blast, dealing 100 elemental damage per charge, max 10 charges. Brittle increases crit damage and crit chance. So brittle, in my opinion, is going to be really good for the single shot weapons. The single shot weapons of the game, or you get a good like shotgun, good grenade launcher. You get I think forward shotgun is going to be a real good contender with brittle. I think they nerfed down some of the recoil with the forward shotgun. I could be mixing my games together, but I think I could be mixing some sight patterns with some other games, but forward shotgun basically is one of the best snipers in the game, and you can really get that recoil direction, like that not direction, but the recoil the target reticle down to like a really small amount, so that you're hitting those shots at long ranges and putting out high damage. So that brittle combined with force shotgun, crescent moon bow, the other bow that drops the stars from the sky, that you get from Yeisha as well. I really think that they were leaning into the more of the Yeisha weapons. Force shotguns from Yeisha, the crescent moon bows from Yeisha, the other bow that I'm talking about is from Yeisha. A lot of single shot weapons are from Yeisha. The crossbow, another crossbow besides the one that you start off with, the other crossbow is from Yeisha as well. So again, single shot target with brittle is going to be really good, and you get haste when you cast one of the skills. Like your teammates get haste, you get haste. So all in all, the Invoker looks good. It looks like it's going to blend with a lot of things and leave like the Explorer out as always. So if you guys did enjoy the video, enjoy the breakdown, and all the things that I've talked about today to get your mind right for those future builds with the Invoker, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with your friends, see if they can get their brains going. Leave in the comment section what you're going to be putting with the Invoker, and I will see you in the next one.